So that's why the elite demonize the Declaration of Independence, because the document written by Thomas Jefferson is the ultimate threat and stands in complete ideological resistance to their philosophy of the collectivist parasite system. Let's talk to Todd in Florida. You're on the air with former Hitler Jugend and former German military man in World War II, Hilmar von Campe. Go ahead, Todd. You're on the air.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thanks, von Campe, for coming in here and taking the time to talk to us. I had two questions, one that was directed to you, Alex, and one that was directed to von Campe in regards to the parallels in our current government in Nazi Germany. First, my first question kind of leads into my second one, but basically, Alex, my fiance just gave birth to a 1-month-old baby, is 1 month now, but of course the doctors are pushing tons of vaccines on. My first question is, one, did you give your kids when they were young any of the hepatitis?
They've never had one. No, my children have never had one vaccine.
Okay, I'm a huge fan, and I just always wanted to know that, especially since I have a young baby now. And for Mr. von Campe, I wanted to talk to you about the parallels between the vaccinations that is going on now, the ones that they're trying to push on everybody, and the parallels between how the Germans and Nazis, did that back then. I know they obviously did a lot of horrendous things to the Jews.
Yeah, medical tyranny, the state running healthcare and using it as a way to control people. Mr. von Campe.
Well, honestly, I can't remember. I know that there were some injections at the time, but there was nothing. Whatever I was a boy. And I think they are not. It's very difficult to compare, because we are now 60, 70 years later, and the medicine has been developing fast in many aspects. And what they had at that time in Germany, I have to admit, I don't really know.
But they did use the medical tyranny to euthanize, to abort babies, to kill babies. I think that was a larger issue. But thank you, Todd. Craig in Kentucky. Craig, you're on the air. Go ahead.
How you doing, Alex?
Pretty good.
Mr. von Campe, was there any type of town hall meetings implemented during before Mr. Hitler went completely berserk into totalitarian government?
No, there were. As far as I know, there wasn't anything of this nature. I think each party, you had a very strong Communist Party and also a strong Socialist Party, and they used to have their own reunions from their party point of view. And the stormtroopers, SA as we called it, was the task. They were the force, Nazi force, which they intimidated the rest of the people.
And by the way, that was one reason Hitler came to power and stayed in power, was because as bad as Hitler was, people were even more afraid of the communist and the socialist, because people knew about the death camps and mass murder in Russia, and they knew the Soviets were behind these groups. So that was one thing that drove people into Hitler's arms. Correct, Mr. von Campe?
Yeah, I think that was no secret in the Soviet Union. In Germany, it was different. Most people did not know about the Holocaust. I had no idea. But we all knew about the discrimination which the Jews had to suffer. And there was no national outcry because, and that is also a similarity, because the people were comfortable and they didn't want to run no risk.
What about the Holocaust of unborn babies in this country? No. Nobody seems to care about them.
You mean the 50 million?
Yes.
That were aborted here in America, no?
Yes, 51 million now.
Yeah, there is no difference between killing a live human being within his or her mother, and if you push a Jew into a gas camera. That is the same killing, which is against God, and that we have a government with this immorality representing us and making our laws, representing us in other countries. I think it's disgusting.
All right, thank you. Anything else, Craig?
And I want to say that I have plenty of information on this question, as far as I know, in my book, which you can get at my website.
We're going to give that out before you leave so people get pencil and paper ready. Anything else, Craig?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, as far as a democracy in this country, they're trying to say that this country is a democracy, even on the mainstream media, and we're a constitutional republic, and I don't think people actually understand what's going on. They're
exactly. Hitler was a democracy. He was elected. He then set up a tyranny after a democracy got him there. In a republic, if 51% say we're going to tax the other 49 or we're going to take their property, you can't do it because rule of law protects the minority as well as the majority. But in a democracy, they can put the carbon taxes on you. They can enslave you. And that's what's happening. If 51% says restrict their First Amendment, it happens, but not in a republic. Kevin in Texas. Kevin, you're on the air.
Hi, Mr. von Campe. I'd like to ask two questions, if I may. I was wondering if you believe that you were successfully propagandized as a child, and also with the Nazi morals that they were pushing on you, did they differ from that of the morals of your parents and grandparents? And if so, what were the tactics that they used to try to get you onto their side?
Yeah, how did they help break up families? I mean, families were still together, but how did they, because you said there was a split in your family, but it was kept private. How did they turn the youth against their parents?
Well, they didn't. I don't think they were successful. The question is up to where can they influence people? And it has two sides. One, for instance, it was forbidden and menaced with capital treatment. You will be killed if you
death penalty.
To foreign radios. My father used to listen to German-speaking broadcasts from Britain and from Switzerland at 10 o'clock at night. But the problem you are putting forward is how did they do it? They ask questions at the children about their parents, how are you doing? There are many ways you can ask children, and they hoped that this way they can get hold of the parents if they recognize if there's anything which is against the Third Reich, against the Hitler regime.
So they told the children to spy on their parents.
Yeah, but they didn't call it this way. I mean, that was very harmless questions, and the child would deliver his or her parents without even knowing what
exactly. Public schools nationwide have free federal computers, and this has now been declassified, and they have you write a journal in 6th and 7th grade about your family, and they ask, do your parents ever discipline you? What's in the medicine cabinet? Does mommy yell at you? And the children are there being taught to type this in or write this, and then it's transcribed and put online. It's like when I have had children, my wife's had 3 children, and after the first child I learned at the hospital, the nurse says, hon, will you take this file downstairs for me? And then when I left, they said, how you doing money-wise? Is he ever mean to you? And my wife's like, no, we have enough money, and he's not mean to me. And, well, does he hit you? And a lot of women their water's broken, they're about to have a baby, they're waiting to get an IV in their arm and go into and they tell the induction nurse, well, yeah, we're having trouble with money. Now the health department's called. You don't have enough money to have the baby. Now the state's going to take it. The spies are everywhere, and they don't tell you they're setting you up when they're doing it. Is that how it was in Germany?
Yeah, that's the way. And let me say also that they didn't really, as far, at least in the small cities, and we were living in the small cities, in contrast to what the big cities like Berlin and Hamburg and Munich, and that was different. But they did not try in the Hitler Youth to make us indoctrinate us and make us Nazis. We were indoctrinated with ideological purposes. In other words, what Hitler wanted from us is to make it possible that he could realize his program, which was to expand Germany towards the east and capture land.
Yeah, you were cannon fodder. You were being bred for military service, and it was all under a peer pressure system. Let's go ahead and take another call. Kevin in Texas, you're on the air.
I believe you just had me on.
Okay, Kevin, thank you. They told me Kevin was next. Mark in Georgia. Mark, go ahead.
Oh, just a second. Yeah, people say how free we are in this country. I say, yep, we're the freest country in the world, and gosh darn it, I have the government's permission to say so. You know, people say how free we are, and I point out to them, well, you tell that to Sarah Weaver. Oh, that's right, she's dead. You tell that to Irwin Schiff. I don't know if you've heard, he recently lost a toe to gangrene when he was in diesel therapy. Gosh darn it, I thought he had...
Yeah, and I haven't heard his son, who we want to get on about that, or maybe he's commented. Has his son commented on that lately on when he's on all these TV shows talking about the economy?
He's there may be an understanding that if he brings it up, his dad's situation will go from bad to worse. I don't know.